Hello and thank you for joining me today for day 28 of Creep on June, hosted by Tracie Fox. Only 2 days left after this. So day 28, and his eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming, and lamplight over him streaming throws his shadow on the floor. So that's some more from the Raven. So today, Edgar is keen to hear what Alice found out last night when she spoke to her father, and luckily she came straight to tell him this morning. She'd clearly been crying. Edgar felt sad for her without even knowing why. He just felt so much hurt coming from a general aura. I spoke to father and it all came out. I said about everything you'd seen and what you'd read because I was just still in a panic about what I'd seen at Harold's, and father told me everything. She looked crestfallen. So it would seem that Harold's 16-year-old son had been messing about in the woods and had come across the tomb, activated the curse, and then brought it into his house. It then somehow managed to transfer to Harold and manifested as a werewolf. The first time this happened, his son locked him in a room in their house because he didn't know what was happening, and for 4 days and 4 nights he sat outside the door, hearing his father flailing around. But as a young wolf, he was still quite weak and unable to really do much damage, so didn't escape, luckily. After that, he decided it would be best to take himself off into the woods for the 4 days and nights that he turns for, and his son can look after the shop. So it transpired that Mary, Alice's mum, as we remember, had been in the butcher's a few days after Harold had come back the last time he turned, but she was buying some meat, and as Harold was passing her some chicken, he accidentally brushed his hand against her arm and scratched her, thus activating the wolf curse on Mary. She didn't know for 3 weeks, but then she started to feel strange, and she was back in the butcher's one day and casually mentioned she wasn't feeling very well. Harold asked her about her symptoms and said he was worried this might happen after he scratched her. He went round to their house and told Mary and Richard the situation, and they chose not to tell Alice. Mary started to research how to break the curse and had nearly figured it out, but then her condition got worse. The full moon was days away, and she was worried what would happen when she changed. She couldn't bear to change into a monster and risk her family getting hurt, so she came to the decision that she would take some poison and take herself out of the equation. She didn't tell Richard, only her sister. And that was why her sister had come, because she knows the old ways and was helping Mary work on a potion to reverse the curse, but didn't know the incantation. So it seemed that Alice's mother didn't actually have consumption. "Oh, Alice, I'm so sorry," Edgar said. "I can't believe she just gave up like that. She could have gone somewhere like Harold does. I'm so angry at her," Alice sobbed. "Mary's main priority was your safety. I can't imagine it was an easy decision. We need to finish what she started. We need to get her notes and reverse the curse to change Harold back and make sure nobody else gets hurt," Edgar replies sympathetically. "We need my aunt back to figure out how to break the curse and save the village," Alice says with a new determination in her voice. "Yes, and we will do it before I leave in 2 days. Harold still has 2 nights left as a wolf, so we need to get him changed back before midnight tomorrow night." They both go to Alice's house, neither of them noticing that Alice is actually supposed to be working. That will have to wait. Richard is there. He looks sad and sullen, but then confused as he sees how driven the pair are. Alice quickly tells her father what they're planning to do. Richard says, "Alice, I'm so sorry I didn't tell you. I hope you can forgive me." Alice says there's no time for that now. She knows why her mother did what she did and she's angry, but maybe will understand one day if she ever has children. For now, though, they need to solve the curse. Richard tells them all Mary's notes were locked in the bureau in their bedroom and hands Alice the key. They start rooting through all the notes, spreading them across the bed in a quiet urgency. There were lists of herbs with notes on what they're used for and which could be used to lift a curse. Mugwort, wormwood and rue were all circled. Clearly those are the combinations that were settled on. Some of the notes were written in Latin and in a different handwriting. That must be her aunt's writing, Alice thought. She needs to get hold of her. She asks her father to go get Aunt Geraldine at once. He does as he's told and says he'll be back with her first thing in the morning. This is it, Edgar says, lifting a folded page marked with a red wax seal. Mary thought she found the ritual. She was close. Alice unfolded the sheet, revealing a half-finished incantation and a hand drawing of the old forest chapel. Edgar remembers seeing that on one of his visits. This is where we need to go when Aunt Geraldine gets here, Alice says. But we don't have the incantation, Edgar said, scanning the sheet. It's incomplete. Hopefully Aunt Geraldine figured it out, or if not, we'll have to figure it out together. If they succeeded, found the full incantation and lifted the curse, they might save not only Harold, but the entire village. And maybe Alice would find peace in the sacrifice her mother had made. The sun is starting to set, and Alice doesn't want Edgar out on the streets after dark in case Harold gets free of the forest. He clearly managed to make his way home yesterday, so who knows where he could be. Father won't be back with Aunt Geraldine until tomorrow morning, so there's not much more we can do now anyway. I'll keep going through Mother's things in case there's anything else. Hopefully my aunt will bring the potion too. Alice, Edgar says, I'm so sorry your mother felt she had to do this. I can't begin to imagine how this makes you feel. I just wish there was more I could do to make you feel better about it all. Edgar, you've done more than you'll ever know. Edgar goes home. Jupiter was waiting outside Alice's house for him, it appeared. He kept close to Edgar all the way home. Oh, Jupe, you will guide us right, won't you? Edgar pleads with the bird. Caw, says Jupiter, and Edgar looks at the crow in the eyes, and they look filled with wisdom from generations of protecting as loyal humans. We had to fit a lot in today. I need to wrap up the story. So I hope you enjoyed that and are keen to hear tomorrow's episode. Will they break the curse? Will Edgar catch his boat the next day? Does Aunt Geraldine let anyone call her Jerry? Probably not. No. Also, I'm really aware that my story does have loads of plot holes. Please don't think too deeply about these things. Like I've said like 4,700 times, I've not planned ahead. I've also not always read back in detail. So, you know, it is what it is. So let's see what I have made today. So on the pocket here, we have the quote with a bit of black lace here, and we have little Jupiter standing there with his eyes that have all the semen of a demon that is dreaming, etc. And we have the number 28 here. And just in the background here, we've got the little boy, the 16-year-old boy with who activated the curse. And he does have a dog there. And let's not dwell on the fact that they don't have a dog. Maybe they used to, and now it lives on a farm. And we've also got the street here just on some acetate. Basically, I still have some acetate prints left over, so I'm just popping them on things. Then we've got a bit of the raven behind it, and then the moon up there. And then this tag basically represents the bureau. So this front bit is the lock and key side. And Alice is still obviously quite angry at her mum for what she did. And this quote just kind of flitters through her head just for a second. Years of love have been forgot in the hatred of a minute. But then she sees this picture on top of her bureau of her mum and dad when they were young and so happy. And she forgets any kind of thoughts of hatred and just realises how her mum came to that horrific decision. Then we go to the bureau, and we've got the front of the bureau, which just has general bureau stuff. So cards from shops, just some stray buttons, and of course some Palo Santo and a herb bundle for cleansing, obviously, who doesn't have that in their bureau. And then we delve a little bit deeper into the bureau, and then we find all the good stuff. So we've got the research, the notes, all the bits and pieces, and then here's the letter sealed with the red wax seal. And then if we go into it, here's a little notebook with some thoughts in it, and we've got the herbs there. I've got rue, wormwood, mugwort, and then it did say basil, but she obviously changed her mind, scribbled it out and wrote no next to it. And then these are just some thoughts for the incantation, just random words that she thinks are going to work. But then we've got a book on beautiful wildflowers, and then we've got some specimens of flowers here, field label, some notes that she's been making, and just a bit of information about curiosity. And that is it. And then we close the bureau back up and pop it away. So that is day 28. Tomorrow is day 29. So, and then day 30, he's got to go home. So we've got to try and get all this wrapped up basically tomorrow. And get him on his boat on time. So I hope you enjoyed today's installment, and we've gone a little bit witchy, it would seem, which just makes sense because it's me. And we will see where we go tomorrow. I've had to clip this page on because otherwise it would just flap about. I've got it under such a big book. I don't know. I'm going to do a flip through at some point, but I don't know if it's even going to work. But we'll figure it out. In the meantime, thank you so much for all of your support and kind words, comments, and thumbs up and everything. Please keep going with the thumbs up and the subscribing and the comments and share and doing all the things. I really, really, really appreciate it. I will be back tomorrow, and in the meantime, have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.